Sometimes loyalty turns into a prison. Maxx Crosby bleeds silver and black, but truth be told, his loyalty is going to cost him overall greatness. And here are 5 reasons I believe it's time for the Raiders to move on from Maxx Crosby and trade him while they can on this edition of All Things Considered. Reason number 1, he is wasting his prime because the Raiders continue to rebuild year after year or regime after regime. And so if you think about it, the Raiders have been embattled. They have had John Gruden. They have had Antonio Pierce. And now they are with Pete Carroll. And that's several regimes. There's no consistency whatsoever. And you have probably one of the most polarizing defenders in the history of the team or history of the franchise. And he's worth every penny. He goes 1,000% every play. He's a born leader, charismatic. He's all of that in a bag of chips on the field. He's never involved in any type of player scandal, and he always speaks his mind. He's respected by each and every player, from the top brass all the way down to the janitor, and yet his prime is being wasted. He's 27 years old. So again, he's definitely in his prime. He hasn't even hit 30 years old yet. Top 3 pass rusher, no doubt. He's always in the upper echelon every single season, and yet he's stuck on a team that will remain in the cellar for, well, I would say at least another probably 3 to 5 years. Tom Brady, as great as he was on the field, I'm starting to get the sentiment that Tom Brady in the front office is going to translate to Michael Jordan in the front office. If you look at them in parallel, in the front office, both of them were great on the field. In the front office, they can't run a franchise to save their life. Yep, I said it. Just because you're a winner on the field doesn't mean you're going to be able to translate that in the front office. It's just as simple as that. And so that's the first reason. He's wasting his prime. He's wasting his time playing for a team and remaining loyal. And by the way, I'm a Raider fan of over 40 plus years, and I used to sip the Kool-Aid and I used to be ultra positive. Now I just look at it for the reality and what it is, and it's a no-win situation for Maxx. Reason number 2, you have a lack of support. He is consistently being double-teamed, and he doesn't have a great supporting cast. Usually a great defensive player, like a defensive end or defensive tackle, you're going to have a complimentary linebacker or maybe a couple of linebackers. You'll have at least a shutdown corner or a premier safety. He don't really have any of that. There's really not a lot of great players on the Raiders on either side of the ball other than Maxx. I think you got Genty on the offense, but again, it remains to be seen because you just don't have an offensive line. And this video is about Maxx. But you failed to pair him. You did have Christian, but that guy just goofy, and I'm glad he's gone because he wasn't committed to winning. He couldn't even stay on the field. Then you get hurt and get injured during a photo shoot. Then you're doing all this crazy stuff, this questionable stuff, I'll say, or this sus stuff. Even if you're being playful about it, you're not being a professional about it. And so we've yet to have that Greg Townsend, if y'all old enough to remember Greg Townsend, was a compliment to Howie Long way back in the day. We talking about, at least 3 decades ago now. They both retired near Howie retired after the 93 season, and then Greg retired about a year, maybe a year or 2 years after Howie in the mid-90s. But reason 2, lack of support, constantly being double-teamed. You did sign in Dockway, but that just didn't pan out. That just didn't work. And you just don't have the personnel. You don't have the personnel, and what you're doing, you're gonna cause him to burn out, and eventually he's gonna get frustrated. And then guess what? You're gonna have a person or have a player that's gonna want out. You're gonna have a player that eventually wants out. I'm gonna move on to number 3 because this is a quick list. This is just a quick hit video. Number 3, I alluded to this in reason one. Poor organizational direction. You have nothing but chaos in the front office. The Raiders have never, ever, at least since I've been liking them, right, or been a fan of them. I can tell you this. I remember being sort of a kid, and I used to do a lot of reading way back in the day. I still read now. And I remember the Raiders had a pretty good front office. They had Ron Wolf, and Ron Wolf was responsible when he finally got tired of Al Davis, and Ron Wolf went to Green Bay. And then he went to Green Bay when Green Bay was in their doldrums. They were a perennial loser by that time. And he was responsible for trading for Brett Favre, getting him from Atlanta. And he was one of the main people responsible for the resurgence of the Packers. Ron Wolf was. And Ron Wolf was instrumental in those 3 world championship teams that Al Davis took credit for. Now, I'm not undermining Mr. Davis in no way, shape, or form, but it wasn't just Mr. Davis. The greatness of the Raiders, there were other people involved in the cultivation, in the scouting department, in the draft room, the player personnel, the trainers. It just wasn't Mr. Davis. He's the brand, he's the front office of it, but organizational wise, it's just not there. I'll give Spytek, I'll put an asterisk by his name. We'll give him a little time, but Mark Davis is enamored with the Patriot way, and the Patriot way, I don't think it's going to work, because you can try to rinse and repeat certain things in certain organizations and whatnot, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And I don't think it's going to work, because you have to have a system in place. You have to have depth. The Raiders have suffered from a lack of depth for many, many years. Many, many years. And this is what you see. And the Raiders have always been they prided themselves on getting outcasts, getting retreads, and then the old NFL model that worked, but it no longer works. It doesn't work. You have to build up, like when Pittsburgh, this is before Tomlin wore his welcome out, because Tomlin I think they need to make a change there. But like in New England and Baltimore, they built up through depth, but now they don't know how to do that. And so the Raiders have never learned how to do that. They get 1 or 2 good players. There's nobody else behind them. So when that guy eventually leaves and burns out, you have nothing left but just a bunch of practice squad players masquerading as starters in the NFL. All right, we're almost done. Excuse me. Last 2 reasons. The 4th reason, at the present moment, his trade value is sky high. It is sky high. And I think at this point, you trade him. We're nearing the trade deadline. You get the most value for Maxx Crosby, because you are in a rebuild. And you could literally take Maxx Crosby, trade him away, and get the most value, as I just alluded to. And you can set your team up for success down the line. There may not be immediate success, but at least you start trying to right this wrong. You start trying to correct this atrocity of grossly mismanaging your franchise, grossly mismanaging your brand, your team, by trading him, and you trade him now. I understand he's loyal to the Raiders, loyal to Las Vegas, to that community. He loves the people love him. Hell, we love him. I'm going to be real and be honest, but at some point it's a business decision. And you have to think about the future of your team. And so I can think of the best destination for him right now, because I think Max deserves an opportunity to play for a ring with a perennial playoff contender. You trade him to Detroit. He's from Michigan, from the Michigan area, or the state of Michigan. You pair him up with Hutchinson. You do that, Philadelphia will not win. They may be in the conference championship. Detroit will be in its first Super Bowl. Detroit, hell, they may win the Super Bowl. Imagine that. It's a win-win. Everybody can get what they want. Everybody can be happy. Max can get his ring. Max already has his money. Detroit is in a win-now mode. The Raiders can get all the picks they need, all the compensation they deserve they can get, and they can rebuild for the future, or start this rebuild for the future, solidify an offensive line. I'm going to also say this real quick. You could make a trade maybe and grab Shador, or look at this year's draft class and grab a quarterback coming out. And now you got your run game with Genty. You got your offensive line. You got, maybe you grab Shador. Yeah, I said Shador. Or you get a new quarterback from the college ranks with some of that draft capital. That's viable. Again, I kind of just gave it away. The fifth reason Maxx deserves a ring. I kind of fused 4 and 5 together. Maxx undoubtedly deserves an opportunity for a ring. I'll never say a player deserves a ring because you got to play for it, you got to earn it. But hey, let him play for a ring. Let him earn it. Detroit's the perfect situation for him. Let him, trade him there, because it gives 1,000% on every play. It's pick your poison for the Detroit Lions opponents. They won't know what hit them. Their opponents won't know what hit them. Again, everybody gets what they want. So, that's what I think. That's exactly what I think. And, Maxx is giving everything to the Raiders, his heart, his leadership, his production, his loyalty. But now it's time to learn a hard truth, and it's time to part. It's time to move on from Maxx. It's time to trade him ASAP. So let me know what you think. Drop me a comment, like, share, and subscribe. This is Bearded Aquarium for All Things Considered. I'm going to see y'all on the next video.